Coming up, the president says the COVID-19 pandemic is over, but counties here in the mountains are still in the red. And new fallout information as more migrants are bussed out of border states, while one mayor says he's considering legal action.
Plus, we still do have some sunshine in the forecast, but we also have perhaps the return of a few showers. Details coming up as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
COVID-19 cases are decreasing nationally, but eastern Kentucky continues to see a spike in numbers. The region is in the red, signaling it's a high-risk area for the coronavirus. Public Health Director Christy Green says eastern Kentuckians should still be taking precautions as cases continue to spike.
We are 100% still considering this a pandemic. We're just at a new phase of it.
State of Kentucky guidelines recommend wearing a mask while indoors in high-risk areas.
Still watching sunshine around the mountains right now, but it's also rather toasty and muggy outside as we look throughout the region. A first look from our camera out at the Mountain Parkway in Slade. You see the road work working on there as we sit at 81 degrees, the current reading across portions of that region. Pinpoint Doppler throughout the region. It's dry. Nothing to talk about in terms of any kind of rainfall, though we still do have a few showers across southern Ohio. Those may try to make it into the region, but many of us stay dry overnight. Low to mid 80s around the region. Warmest spot, that would go to Irvin, sitting at 86, matching Lexington not far away, and 87, the warm spot over in Louisville throughout Kentucky. Current dew points, they're in the middle and upper 60s to near 70s, so it is aggressively muggy outside, especially by mid to late September standards. But those numbers will be dropping as we head into the next couple of days. Throughout the next few hours, though, 82 through the next few hours down into the mid 70s tonight, and a few more clouds on the scene as we head into tonight with lows near 70. I'll have the details on when we could see an increase in the beautiful weather, at least returning to the region. That's coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thanks. The parole hearing for a Western Kentucky school shooter is underway. Michael Carneal is the first Kentucky school shooter eligible for parole and could be the first school shooter in the country to get it. Carneal shot and killed 3 people and injured 5 others at Heath High School in Paducah back in 1997. At the time, he got the maximum sentence, life in prison with the possibility of parole. This morning, victims and family members of the 3 girls who were killed spoke in court.
Him being released is a tragedy in itself. It's not fair for anybody that was involved.
I believe that he should have to spend the rest of his life incarcerated. Nicole does not get a second chance. Why should he?
The second part of Carneal's hearing will take place tomorrow. Carneal will have the chance to make his case for parole to the judge during that time. Republican governors in southern border states have ramped up migrant transports to northern Democrat-led cities in an effort to protest the Biden administration's border policies. This was a huge local story in Florida when I was down there the last few days. In the past week, migrants, mostly from Cuba and Venezuela, have arrived by plane to Martha's Vineyard and by bus to New York and Washington, D.C. Some city officials and civil rights advocates have called for legal action. CBS's Natalie Brand has more on this from Washington.
More migrants arrived by bus to New York from Texas Monday, following 6 additional buses over the weekend. Mayor Eric Adams says his city is considering potential legal action.
We're looking at our legal options on all of what we are seeing, how to address this.
Already the situation in New York has turned tragic, with Mayor Adams confirming in a statement that one asylum seeker took her own life at a facility over the weekend. The fallout also continues to grow over the migrants flown to Martha's Vineyard from Florida. The group Lawyers for Civil Rights is pushing for investigations into the transportation of the migrants.
The misinformation, the misrepresentations are seen in every step of the way.
The Biden administration and some congressional Democrats have accused the Republican governors of using the migrants as political props. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis defended his action, saying the southern U.S. border is in crisis.
These were folks who got the transport that Biden totally abandoned. They were homeless, they were hungry, so they hit the jackpot.
We're all people, humanity. Yeah, politics aside, it's just there's people out here that need stuff.
Volunteers are stepping up to fulfill some migrants' needs as both Republican and Democratic lawmakers acknowledge solutions are also needed at the border. U.S. Customs and Border Protection expects to apprehend more than 2 million migrants along the U.S.-Mexico border this year, which would set an all-time high. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
State representatives say collectively the Republican governors of Arizona, Florida, and Texas have transported roughly 13,000 migrants to Democratic-led cities, costing their states millions of dollars. The union that represents Kroger employees say their members are ready to strike. Cincinnati-based Kroger is the largest grocery chain in the nation and the second largest retailer with an operating profit of $965 million. The union that represents its Columbus employees is the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. Its 12,500 members voted overwhelmingly to strike by a vote of 81% yes and 19% no.
Workers are feeling undervalued, and so they're pushing for more wages. At the same standpoint, employers are looking not just what I need to pay workers today, but in the future, and they're concerned about, the longer inflation goes along, businesses can't afford to pay workers too much because you're going to may drive your prices too high and price your customers out of the market.
Low unemployment and high inflation gives workers more power to negotiate, but consumers may have to pay higher prices as a result. Deadly truck crashes are in the spotlight on Capitol Hill today. The Truck Safety Coalition released its report on states where the most deadly crashes occur, and they're looking for action from federal leaders to bring down those numbers. The TSC report says 12 states, including Kentucky, are, quote, deadly dozen, leading the nation in deadly crashes. The report says in 2020 there were 5,600 deaths involving trucks, and since 2009 they say truck crash deaths have increased by 66%. With support from D.C. House Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton, the chair of a key subcommittee of the Transportation Committee, advocates are asking for what they call common sense regulation that includes adding to trucks things like automatic emergency braking, assistance systems, under-ride guards, and other safety measures.
I don't understand what is keeping us from moving forward toward zero traffic fatalities, if you will. It is possible, it is conceivable. These crashes are all preventable. They're not accidental, they're preventable.
The advocacy group is meeting with lawmakers during their visit to continue the push for more safety regulations. TikTok is well known for its viral dance videos, but the app is now gaining ground for something a bit more useful. It is being used as a search engine, especially among young people who are drawn to seeing real people delivering information as opposed to text on a website. Some even call it Google for Gen Z. Google remains the world's most used search engine, but the company does acknowledge TikTok appeals to younger generations. Google has embraced the trend to an extent. In the past few years, some of its search results have featured TikTok videos, as well as YouTube Shorts, which features videos less than 1 minute long. Coming up on First at 4, the president says the country can head off a recession by continuing to grow the economy.
Well, sunshine and humidity making it feel like summer outside, but the latest on when fall returns, both literally and figuratively, coming up.